Meet Tommy. He's a volatile, reckless 19-year-old living a chaotic life full of drugs, violence, and zero consequences. But karma comes knocking one night when he's heavily intoxicated on hard substances, barely knowing what planet he's on, and gets abducted. Next, we cut to a woman named Reena. She's interviewing for a job as a cleaner at a guy named Chris's house. Chris plays the role of the ultimate HR nightmare, asking highly illegal interview questions like if she has a kid or uses drugs to suppress her emotion.
Do you have any children?
No.
Reena is visibly uncomfortable because red flags, but she needs the job, so she simply answers no. The next day, Reena shows up for her first shift. Chris thoroughly searches her and confiscates her mobile phone, claiming they don't use them in the house. While he's going through her files to outline her chores, his wife, Catherine, walks in. Catherine always appears completely mundane and drained of life, apparently due to something tragic that happened to her child in the past. Chris gives Reena the grand tour, introducing her to his young son, Jonathan. Then, like a totally normal employer, he casually leads her down to the basement. There, Reena finds a teenage boy, Tommy, lying on a mattress with an actual dog chain wrapped around his neck. To make the dungeon vibes even creepier, there's a cassette player on a table blasting ambient animal noises. Reena is absolutely terrified, but Chris actually praises her for not screaming. He casually explains that he's just trying to make the boy better and has no intention of harming him or anyone else. Sure, Chris, because nothing says therapy like a dog collar.
A bit sick. I'm gonna make him better.
Reena immediately tries to nope out of there, but Chris drops a massive blackmail bomb. He reveals he knows she's an undocumented immigrant from Macedonia facing deportation. If she stays and works for him, he offers her immunity and protection.
It might not be so easy for the girl from Macedonia. You didn't have much of a choice doing what you were doing.
Trapped, Reena agrees. Chris then hands her her cleaning tools, which include a taser and pepper spray just in case Tommy tries anything funny. Ah yes, standard janitorial supplies. Reena starts cleaning immediately and heads down to the basement to do laundry. This wakes Tommy up. Seeing a fresh face, he gets agitated, curses at her, and begs her to undo his chains.
Who the f are you? Don't f***ing ignore me. Look at me. Just come and help me out quickly before they come back. Just come and undo it.
Reena, honoring her new bizarre employment contract, completely ignores him and walks upstairs. Chris reassures Reena that Tommy won't be chained forever. He just wants him to become a better human. He compliments her cleaning and reminds her the contract is for 2 days a week. That evening, Chris brings dinner down to Tommy. In an act of pure rebellion, Tommy throws the food away, curses at Chris, and threatens to end his life the second he gets off the chains. Chris responds calmly by whipping out the taser and putting Tommy straight to sleep. When Chris heads back upstairs to his family at the dinner table, he flat out lies, saying Tommy loved the food. Catherine asks what he did down there, and Chris smoothly replies that he has everything under control. Later, Chris brings a TV down to the basement. Tommy is confused until Chris plays a recent video of Tommy and his friends driving recklessly under the influence, crashing, and then laughing while throwing bricks at the ruined car. Instead of remorse, Tommy is absolutely thrilled and says he wishes he could go back to that lifestyle. Chris then lists all of Tommy's crimes and plays a video of himself and Jonathan reading out the consequences of drunk driving. Tommy just finds the whole PowerPoint presentation amusing. In the middle of the night, Tommy desperately tries everything to break free. His frantic thrashing only results in him spilling his entire latrine bucket all over himself. The next morning, Chris and Catherine come down to check on him. Tommy instantly throws his urine-soaked pants directly into Catherine's face and leaps onto Chris, choking him out. Chris begs his wife to go upstairs while he incapacitates the teenager. After handling Tommy, Chris goes up to help Catherine clean off the splash damage. He then packs up some gear ready for round 2. On his way down, Jonathan asks if he can read some of his brother's comic books. Chris says yes, but tells him to keep it a secret. Down in the basement, Chris tries to reason with Tommy, but the kid refuses to listen. Tommy curses, threatening to harm Chris and his wife, and promises to make Jonathan watch. Tired of the attitude, Chris pepper sprays the kid, pulls out a literal whip, and beats him mercilessly, calling him a bad boy. Ah yes, gentle parenting. Later, Jonathan approaches Chris, proudly stating he finished his homework and asking if he can play with Tommy or watch a movie with him. Chris tells him to be patient. Things will get better soon. It's Thursday morning, meaning Reena is back doing laundry. Tommy wakes up, taunts her to free him, and upon realizing she's foreign, starts cursing at her. Chris walks in to find Reena crying. Seeing the disrespect, Chris demands Tommy apologize. Tommy tries to play tough, but Chris just threatens him with the whip again. Tommy quickly swallows his pride and apologizes. Chris then offers Tommy painkillers for the brutal beating from the night before, telling him that Jonathan has a surprise for him and promising we are not psychopaths.
Tommy. We're not psychopaths.
Spoiler alert, Chris, psychopaths usually don't have to announce they aren't psychopaths. To prove how sane he is, Chris hoists Tommy's chain up and ties it to the ceiling so he can sit upright. He gives him popcorn and the family sits down for movie night. Jonathan asks to watch Charlie's, the Lost Brothers, favorite movie in his memory. Catherine walks in, gets incredibly emotional seeing them all together like a family, and joins them. When a very emotional scene plays, Tommy gets overwhelmed and asks to be taken back to the basement. The next morning, the torture shifts from physical to psychological. Tommy is forced to watch a TV program about the consequences of hard drugs. He tries to turn it off, but his chains won't let him reach it. He spends the entire day trying to break free, failing miserably and eventually breaking down in tears. But amidst the crying, he gets an idea. The next day, Tommy feeds the couple a massive fake apology. He says he didn't realize how harmful his actions were, claims he is ashamed, wants to be better, and begs for forgiveness.
I did not behave in the way I should have. And for that, I want to apologise and say sorry.
This performance makes Catherine smile for the first time, and Chris says he is incredibly proud. Catherine notices Tommy was squinting at the TV, so she brings him some glasses. Tommy claims his sight is fine, but tries them on anyway, marveling at how clearly he can see. He thanks her. Chris then plays a video of Tommy and his goons cornering and beating a helpless man for no reason. Tommy tries to bluff, saying his probation officer will be looking for him soon since he missed a check-in. The couple easily calls his bluff. They know he isn't on probation and that literally no one is looking for him because everyone is sick of his behavior. The next day, Chris rewards Tommy's progress by extending his chain so he can walk to the bathroom. Catherine offers him some of Charlie's clothes. Finally able to walk around a bit, Tommy immediately turns off that god-awful animal noise cassette player. Catherine tries to offer him a book, but Tommy says he doesn't read and refuses it. However, Chris gives him a deadly glare and Tommy nervously accepts the gift. Suddenly, there's a knock at the upstairs door. Chris immediately holds his taser right next to Tommy's chain, silently threatening to put him to sleep if he makes a peep. Catherine answers the door. It's just a delivery guy. Jonathan apologizes for opening the gate, and Catherine sternly warns him never to do it again. Next, we see Chris in his workshop building some weird mechanical tool. Catherine walks in holding a pack of cigarettes she found in Jonathan's clothes. They confront the boy, who initially denies but confesses to smoking just one stick. Chris is totally chill and forgives him, but Catherine goes full drill sergeant. She refuses to let it slide and tells Jonathan his punishment for lying is to smoke the entire pack right there. Jonathan is crying, coughing, and begging his dad to stop it because he can't breathe, but Chris just stands there. When Chris can't stomach it anymore, he just walks out of the room. Seriously, who is the real villain in this movie? The next day, Reena is cleaning again. Tommy begs her for a smoke. She doesn't have one, but gives him a piece of gum instead. The moment her back is turned, Tommy tries to steal her cleaning tool, but the chain stops him. Hearing Chris approach, he scurries back to his bed and pretends to read the book. Chris greets him brightly, but Tommy responds like a miserable prisoner. He begs Chris to let him go, promising never to tell anyone about the abduction and claiming his friends and family are worried. Chris just smiles, says everything will be fine, and puts the TV in front of him again. Catherine joins in as they play a new video. This one shows Tommy and his crew harassing a little boy, stealing his phone, trashing it, and telling the kid no one is coming to save him. This reveals Chris has actually been stalking Tommy from a distance for a long time. Tommy, tired of seeing his own awful behavior, says he's had enough. Later, Chris is trying to teach Jonathan math equations, but the kid is crying because he doesn't get it. Catherine has to take over the tutoring. Chris goes down to collect plates, and Tommy asks if he could please sit at a table like a normal person because lying on his back all day is making his body cranky. He then asks Chris to explain a word from the book Catherine gave him. Chris makes him read the whole sentence and breaks it down. Tommy then negotiates a deal. If he reads the books, will Chris give him Football League headlines? Chris sweetens the pot. For every book read, Chris will buy him a beer.
A beer.
Upstairs, Chris can't find Catherine in their room. He finds her outside, smiling about Tommy's progress, though she notes they still need to work on his language. The next morning, the family hits peak crazy. They bring Tommy a birthday cake while singing. Tommy makes a wish, blows out the candle, and Catherine tells him they have a surprise. But first, they literally chloroform him to sleep. I mean, who doesn't love a little chemical sedation for their birthday? Tommy wakes up in an open field outside the house. The family is having a steak picnic. Jonathan and Tommy play sports together just like Jonathan always wanted, bringing Catherine immense joy. Once the fun is over, Tommy is chloroformed again and shipped back. When he wakes up, he's in a brand new small room that has scratch marks indicating someone else was kept here before him. Chris comes in and shows off the new chain extensions he built. Tommy can now move freely around the house, but there's a catch. The collar has a combination lock requiring a password. Jonathan asks if he likes it, but Tommy is visibly depressed that he's still chained like a dog. Catherine tells him to stop being negative and view it as a sign of their trust. She's so proud of him that she gives him her special belt, which she ties around his neck next to the collar. Chris gives Tommy a tour, showing him that once the lock is off, he can eat at the table and watch movies with them anytime, like a proper family. Back in his room, Tommy asks Jonathan who the markings on the table belong to, but Chris interrupts before he can answer. The next day, Reena is in a terrible mood. Tommy, playing the hero, asks what's wrong and promises to fight anyone bothering her. Sneakily, he asks her for the lock's password, but Reena pretends she doesn't remember. Meanwhile, Chris is thrilled that Catherine is coming out of her shell and going outside more. While Chris adjusts the cable, Tommy crosses a massive boundary and asks Chris if he ever sleeps with his wife. Chris gets super offended and tells him never to bring it up again. Upstairs, the whole family is hanging out, but Reena is super distracted. Catherine pulls her aside. Reena confesses she's terrified because men have been following her for days, and she thinks they are immigration officials coming to deport her. Catherine feels bad and offers to let Reena move in with them. Reena refuses at first, but Catherine insists, claiming they are family now. That morning, Tommy goes to pee and catches Reena leaving the bathroom. Overjoyed by the sight, he goes back to his bed to help himself out. Unfortunately for him, his vigorous movements cause the bell on his chain to ring all the way in Catherine's room. Catherine asks Chris to go check. Chris walks in right as Tommy is doing the deed. Awkward. Chris tells him to at least use the shower next time with the water running, then hilariously asks the captive teenager for advice on how to make romantic moves on Catherine. Later, Catherine joins Tommy in his room. He reads an article from her book about people using drugs to escape their heads. Catherine explains that drugs are just a bliss stupor that ruins your life and makes you forget responsibilities and family. After Catherine puts his lock back on, she steps outside and is surprised by a beautiful romantic date setup. It turns out Tommy's inappropriate question earlier was a distraction to give Chris time to set it up. While the couple is busy outside, Tommy begs Reena for a long metal object from a drawer. She refuses, but purposely opens the drawer just enough. Tommy struggles, manages to grab a fork, hides it inside a flower pot, and rushes back to pretend he's reading. That night, Chris brings Tommy chocolate tea, thanking him for the relationship advice and saying he hasn't seen Catherine happy in years. Later on, while Chris is out to get some groceries, a group of men attacks the house looking for Reena. They burst through the door. Reena apologizes to Catherine, saying these men are her family and she has to go. Catherine and Tommy refuse to let her be taken. The man insists. Before being dragged away, Reena quickly whispers the password to Tommy's lock. Tommy punches one of the men but gets absolutely jumped and beaten up by the group. When Chris returns, he gives Tommy a beer, thanks him for standing up for the family, and promises to install CCTV cameras and motion sensors. He tells Tommy they can tackle the project together, like father and son, but Tommy has other plans. That night, unable to sleep, he takes the gum Reena gave him and sticks it to his bell so it won't make noise. He stacks some books on the floor, stands on them, and inputs the password Reena gave him. Once unlocked, he grabs the hidden fork and breaks the collar off his neck. Chris hears a noise, grabs his gun, and goes to investigate. To his horror, Tommy is loose. Tommy attacks Chris from behind, making him drop the gun. Tommy snatches the weapon and bolts for the door, but it's locked and Chris has the keys. Chris begs Tommy to stop and not wake the others. Tommy aims the gun right at him. Chris pleads, saying Tommy has been such a good boy and they are proud of him. Catherine walks in, shushing them. Chris warns her to stay back, but she totally ignores him. She walks right up to the barrel of the gun and gently takes it from Tommy. Tommy screams that they aren't his family. This isn't real. They chained him like a dog in a basement without sunlight, and he is his own man. Catherine gently tells him to just wait until morning so they can talk, promising he can sleep without chains tonight. Tommy refuses, calling them psychopaths, and yells that they are going to ruin him just like they did to Charlie. Hearing this, Catherine emotionally calls Tommy Sparkle, which was Charlie's nickname. Realizing Tommy is entirely lost to them, Chris tells his wife it's over and they have to let him go. Heartbroken, Catherine tries to end her own life right there, but Chris catches her just in time. Taking his chance, Tommy runs out of the house. After sprinting a few miles, he collapses on the road. Eventually, Tommy makes it home. When the police question him, he refuses to give any details about his abduction, lying to the officer and saying he simply chose to disappear for a few months. Tommy tries to slide back into his old chaotic lifestyle, but everything feels hollow, uncomfortable, and unfulfilling. He finds his girlfriend, Gabby, heavily intoxicated from using too much. Something in Tommy snaps. He takes Gabby back to his house, grabs a few of his things, and meets her outside. He asks her to put on a blindfold and he drives off. When he finally stops the car, he asks Gabby if she trusts him. She says yes. Tommy then pulls out the exact same chloroform substance Chris used on him and puts her to sleep. In the final scene, we see Tommy carrying an unconscious Gabby right back into Chris and Catherine's house. The family is absolutely overjoyed to have him back, especially Jonathan. Stockholm Syndrome level expert. If you loved this insane recap, hit that like button and let me know in the comments if you want me to cover more absolute madness like this.